All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I just want to start off by just encouraging people to make sure that their grades are as good as they want them to be by next Friday. Basically, we'll meet twice next week, and then that's it. Game over. So make sure your grade in here. You know, you're getting full credit on assignments. If you want to raise your grade, that's one thing people have been reaching out to me, like, how can I raise my grade? And I just encourage them, make sure you're getting full credit on these assignments because half credit or partial credit over time can really whittle away at your grade. So get as much credit as you can on each assignment. Also, other classes, right? Please don't feel like, oh, it's too late in the semester. Oh, my teacher's going to get irritated. If you've got a class that you need to step it up and do better on an assignment, retake something, redo something, submit something that's missing, I don't know, please reach out to that teacher and be proactive today. Teachers really appreciate that. When students reach out to me, weeks before the end of the semester, I am very willing to bend over backwards to do what I can to help them out. But I can't tell you enough, if a student contacts me, the last day of the semester, emails me on Friday of next week, I'm just kind of like, sorry, kind of took too long. So I got a question. So when Oh, interesting. Cecilia, which one was that for? Was it for this week's vocab and concepts? Interesting. Let me take a look. I'm gonna share my screen right now, and I will double check that to make sure that's set up correctly. Thank you for bringing that up. Sometimes there's like different settings, and maybe I screwed something up. So let me check that. Man, I gotta get going. What am I talking about here? Here we go. Now I'm down to the right place. This week, there we go. Vocab and concepts. Let me make sure it's set up for multiple retakes. Multiple attempts, yes. So it says yes. So you should be. Let me actually just click in here just to make sure and go down here. Allow multiple attempts. Yep. So you should be able to do that. Maybe I would encourage you to kind of log out, maybe shut down your Chromebook, log back in and see if that works. If that doesn't work, reach out to me and let me know, and I'll try to dig through and figure out what's going on. So for this week, I'm going to close this down because I always think that's where I need to start. There we go. Okay, here's this week's stuff. 4.4, proving and applying to ASA and AAS. Remember, like we talked about on Monday, this lesson for this week is very similar to last week's lesson. And actually, next week's lesson that unlocks today is kind of the same idea. You're using more of these properties. So 4.3, 4.4, and 4.5 are very similar to each other. The same idea, the same concept. You're using properties to show that triangles are congruent to each other. 4.3 was just focusing on side, angle, side, and side, side, side. This week, you should be looking at angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. What has to exist? What does that triangle need to look like? What information do you need to be given to show that angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side can be used? So for this week, the interactive textbook, if you need to know where to go, there's a hyperlink there to get to your interactive textbook. What pages we're on, all that information is there. Practice problems. So these are the problems I want you to do each week. So make sure you are completing those, practicing the work, because like we talked about on Monday, it's one thing to watch somebody do it, but it's another thing to practice it yourself. So make sure you've got a handful of problems you're going through. Extra practice. This is basically for if you just kind of want to practice it some more. Maybe you were struggling, maybe you reached out and got some help, and now you just want to practice some more. There's some suggestions in there. Vocabs and concepts and check-in. These are both due Sunday night by 11:59 p.m. The solutions manual, this is awesome to have out while you're going through the textbook. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but when you're going through the textbook, the lesson, there's always example problems. And underneath the example problems, there's a little section called try it, and it gives you some numbered problems. If you've looked through that underneath the example problems and you've seen those questions and you've been practicing them or you've been interested in them, this solutions manual has all of those questions in it. So it'll walk you through step by step how to answer those questions. So this is really good. If you haven't been accessing this, make sure you are, along with all the answers and solutions to the practice problems, right? The video tutorial, this is just me going through it. So I'm sure, a lot of people know what I'm talking about by now, but this is just vocab specific, me kind of explaining problems, going through the example problems, going through the practice problems. So make sure you use that if you need it. Like I mentioned a minute ago, next week's stuff unlocked today. Next week's stuff is talking about congruence and specifically right triangles. It's not kind of a triangles in general congruence idea. You have to be dealing with a right triangle to apply the properties that this lesson's talking about. This lesson introduces one more congruence criteria. It's called hypotenuse leg, hence the right triangle, right? You have a hypotenuse when you're dealing with a right triangle. And then it also involves 3 of the 4 congruence criteria that we've already talked about. It involves angle, angle, side, and angle, side, angle. And it also involves side, angle, side. Side, side, side is one of those properties that doesn't apply when it comes to a right triangle. So that one doesn't work, but all the other ones will. So just kind of when you start getting ready to kind of dive into next week's work, just keep that in mind. You'll be introduced another congruence criteria, hypotenuse leg. All the same stuff applies. Interactive textbook, practice problems, extra practice. The vocab and concepts and the check-in, those are both available to you and unlocked. So if you want to get ahead of the game and you're done with 4.4, you're more than welcome to start chipping away at that. And then just like I said with 4.4, the solutions manual and the video tutorial there if you need it. So one more thing real quick, you could see the next week after next week, right? This is basically the last week of the semester. The week after that is our test. So just so you know that's coming down the pipe, the test is coming up in a couple weeks. So, all right, I'm gonna let the late people in, pause for questions. Feel free to unmute yourself. All right, I'm not seeing anything in the text box. I don't hear anything. So I'm gonna let everybody head on and get to work. Use the next 40 minutes to start digging through math and or continue working on math. Make sure the next 40 minutes is dedicated to math. I'm gonna hang back and talk with people that wanna talk. I hope everybody has a great weekend and we'll see you next Monday. Bye. Hey, Danielle, you got any questions for me? Hey, Nevaeh.
Hey,
How are you?
I was, oh wait, sorry. I'm good.
Oh, you're good. What's up?
Um, I for some reason I was like I felt like I couldn't get into the Zoom. Like
Oh, I think it was just because you came right after it started and I usually let people sit in the waiting room just because I'm sharing my screen and it's hard for me to go back and forth.
uh
Yeah, that's why. So no worries. I'm going to get this